let's stand on the steps. Let's first, for the first category of today, let's first start talking about the Memphis Grizzlies. And for the start of the bubble, the Grizzlies, their first NBA scrimmage, they'll be broadcasted on TV, on Grizzlies.com or NBA TV. Will be on Friday. The first live action the fans can get to see. It's against the Philadelphia 76ers at 2:30. That'll be on Grizzlies.com, and Pete Pranica will be broadcasting it. He's the play-by-play announcer for the Grizzlies. And I think it'll be really exciting. First time we've seen the Grizzlies in a real game since way back in March, and it's going to be really exciting. And the Grizzlies also play on Sunday against the Rockets on NBA TV, and then again Tuesday against the Miami Heat. So a lot of basketball this weekend. It's already started today with the Clippers. They beat the Orlando Magic 99-90, and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard had a very nice game, both individually and as a team. So the Clippers had a really nice one right there. But let's get back to the Grizzlies, and let's go to another topic. And over the past weekend, yesterday there was breaking news on Justice Winslow. He'll be out for season due to a hip injury. He fell on it on a scrimmage on Monday. And that's terrible news for the Grizzlies. But today's category, the next thing is, is losing Justice Winslow that big of a deal, and will it impact the Grizzlies a lot and take their playoff chances away? I'm going to say no, because you have a two-way, very talented forward in Kyle Anderson, who's played really well. I mean, he's not an elite-level player, but he's played really good for his talent level. Grizzlies got the most out of him, averaging 5.7 points a game, almost 6, 4.4 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. Everybody calls him slow-mo, but he tries his hardest, and he's a very scrappy player, and he's really good on the defensive side of the ball. But the key thing to replacing Justice Winslow, I think, not Kyle Anderson, I think it's Josh Jackson, because, I think he's in a bounce-back year, averaging 10.4 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, but the last 10 games before the thing shut down, he was averaging 13.5 points per game, 1 steal per game, and he was shooting lights out from the three, 36.5%. His three-point percentage playing with the Grizzlies from last year playing the Suns have gone skyrocketing upwards, so that's a very good thing to see for the Grizzlies. And I think if I was Taylor Jenkins, I would put him in the starting lineup because he's very athletic, very fast player, and he can shoot the ball, and he's very athletic too. So, it's really no-brainer to put him in the starting lineup. Kyle Anderson's a nice player too, but if it was me, I'd put Josh Jackson in there because, right before the shutdown, he was going on 19, 20s, 18, 16, 22, every game right before the thing shut down, and he was leading the Grizzlies, their bench and the whole team in scoring. And he was hitting like 3 threes per game. So, I think it's not going to be that big of a deal. The Grizzlies would have liked to have Winslow, but I think Kyle Anderson and Josh Jackson will fill that gap that Winslow would have filled, but I think they're going to cover it up, and I think the Grizzlies will be in good hands at the small forward position. Next, we're going to switch the topic to college football top 25, and I got this from Bleacher Report and some other sports channels and from their website. So, starting off at number 1, Ohio State. They have Justin Fields coming back, a very high-powered offense and a very high-powered defense. Yeah, Clemson, they got Trevor Lawrence and just a very talented team. Alabama, as always, Nick Saban and his amazing roster. And they have a 5-star quarterback coming in. And then you got Georgia, always good on the defensive side of the ball. Kirby Smart, great recruiter. Number 4. Number 5, the defending national champions LSU. Of course, they lost Joe Burrow, but now they have Miles Brennan come back, so you'll see what happens there. Number 6, Oklahoma. They still have a very good roster, but this year they're going to have a freshman quarterback, so I don't know what that's going to look like. Might have a little struggle at first. But then at number 7, I'm going to go with the Florida Gators. Dan Mullen's having a pretty nice coaching career there for the short term, but I think he might struggle this year. But right now they have him at 7. I don't really agree with that. And then Penn State, a very nice defense, and I think that's a good spot. Number 8 for them. Number 9, Texas. Tom Herman's got that squad doing very well last year. I mean, they didn't go as planned, but Sam Ehlinger is back again for his senior year, and he's one of the top quarterbacks in all of college football, and they have a good defense too. And Herman's a great recruiter. Number 10, Texas A&M. Still got Kellen Mond, brought in a four-star quarterback, but I think Texas A&M is still gonna struggle a little bit. I'm just looking at 8-4. I don't really know why they're number 10. But number 11, Auburn. Bo Nix, a very nice young quarterback. Auburn always has a great D-line, defense. And Gus Malzahn always has that team looking good. And then number 12, Notre Dame. Still have Ian Book, but might see some struggles with Notre Dame because they don't have that much talent around them after losing Chase Claypool. Number 13, USC. They're trying to regain some of the ground that they've lost in the last couple years. Didn't have that well of a recruiting class, but they're number 13. 14, Oregon lost Justin Herbert, but they still have a really talented roster. You have a really nice offensive line, but that's why they're number 14 because they lost Herbert. Wisconsin at number 15, they lost Jonathan Taylor, but they still have a lot coming back. Number 16, Michigan lost Shea Patterson, but I've heard they have a lot of good young quarterbacks that could maybe fill the spot of him. And a nice defense too there. In North Carolina, still have Mac Brown. North Carolina, they had some really nice recruiting classes as of late, and he's a lot of talent coming in there. And they have a nice quarterback in Sam Howell, but I think North Carolina's got to take the next step. And then 18, Oklahoma State, still have Chuba Hubbard, one of the best running backs in the country right now. Really fast, physical, and he's got elite speed. And then at 19, the Tennessee Volunteers. Jeremy Pruitt's done a great job turning that program around, and they're going to have one of the best offensive line. I think it's going to be the best offensive line. Four former 5-stars and 1 4-star at the center position. There's a loaded team right there. You have Jared Garantano back, second year in the system with Jim Chaney, one of the best offensive coordinators in the nation. But you have a 5-star quarterback in Harrison Bailey come in, and hopefully he and JG can battle out, and may the best man win. And Pruitt's got a really nice defense, a young defense coming back too. Number 20, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. I don't think they're going to be top 10 this year, but because they lost lost one of their best wide receivers in Tyler Johnson, but I think they'll still be a pretty nice team. UCF, after losing their coach to Nebraska, Scott Frost, kind of took a drop off, but I think they'll be an average team as usual. 22, Cincinnati. I think they're a pretty good team for their conference, but I don't think they're ever going to be top 10 this year. Iowa State, Matt Campbell. He's a pretty nice team right there. Purdy, the quarterback for them, is very good too. So he's a nice quarterback, but you got to get some more talent around that team. Number 24, Miami. They're starting to look better. They have one of the top defensive lines coming back. Still have a horrible offensive line, and got to get more playmakers. But they have Derek King, so he's going to be really good too. One of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country right now. And then Arizona State, Arizona State was pretty good last year, better than expected, and I think they'll be pretty good this year too, as they have a sophomore quarterback coming back and a really nice coach. So that rounds up the college football top 25. Some news around the sports world. Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer signs a multi-year extension. He only had 1 year left on his deal, so that's good that they got a deal done there in Minnesota. And also, exciting news that MLB starts back tomorrow, opening night, Thursday. So that'll be exciting to see. They've already been doing some spring training, but I'm just glad that all the sports are starting to come back. And as of always, NBA is starting back on July 30th. Just 8 days away, so I'm getting really excited for that. And let's go into the next topic. And the 5-star point guard, one of the top point guards, if not the top point guard in the 2021 basketball class, 5-star Kennedy Chandler out of Memphis from Briarcrest. Well, he started out at Briarcrest. Many people thought Penny Hardaway or John Calipari or Coach K at Duke would get him. He is a Memphis native, so you think Penny Hardaway would have the edge, but Kenny Chandler is transferring away from Memphis, so that's not a good sign for Penny. And also, all of the sources I've gotten to is he's 100% Tennessee. If you look at Rivals and 24/7 Sports, they have him as 100% going to Tennessee. This is embarrassing for Penny Hardaway if he can let a 5-star just walk out of Memphis like that and just go to Rick Barnes. It's not going to be good for him. And Kenny Chandler is one of the top point guards. He can shoot the 3-ball very well. And he's good at driving the basketball, and he's athletic, very athletic too, and he's good on the defensive side of the ball too. So that'll be a huge pickup for Rick Barnes. And this is just very good news for the Tennessee Volunteers because everybody's saying it's 100% Tennessee and not good for Memphis fans.
Okay, now we're going to have an interview with Memphian Apirney. Hello, Apirney. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Well, we're going to start off first talking about who's better, Tennessee. Well, I'm going to go over my notes. Tennessee football versus Memphis football, and some basketball, who owns the state. All-time in Tennessee football versus Memphis football, 22-1. And then national championships, Tennessee has 6, and Memphis has 0. In the AP Top 25 for college football, the top 25 teams, Tennessee for 2020 is number 19. Memphis is not in the top 25. Recruiting for 2020, Tennessee is number 10. Memphis is number 65. Recruiting for 2021, Tennessee is number 3. Memphis is number 38. And some offseason news for both teams. Tennessee got a 5-star offensive line transfer, Cade Mays from Georgia. In Memphis, their head coach left to go to Florida State, Mike Norvell, but they hired their offensive line coach, Ryan Silverfield. Now, Ms. Apirney, what would you like to say about that?
I like our new head coach. Our old coach apparently is already getting in trouble for paying players down in Florida State. So, honestly, if he's not an honest man, he's not good for the program. That's what I like to say.
Okay, Ms. Apirney, what do you have to say about the 22-1 all-time record? Tennessee has 22, Memphis has 1. What do you have to say about that?
Are you talking about football?
Yes, ma'am, football.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't even know when the last time Tennessee played Memphis was. But look, I'll give you this. Tennessee is in a better conference than Memphis. And so, they get better, they play against better teams and better players and better experience. And until Memphis can be in an equally good conference, it's not a good comparison, I think.
Okay, what do you have to say about Memphis having 0 national championships? Do you think it's because of the conference they're in?
Yes, I do, because Memphis was ranked 18 last year. I don't think Tennessee had a ranking that was that good last year, and we still weren't even close to national championship. We could go undefeated and still probably not have a good shot at championship because of the conference we're in.
Well, the next step Memphis has to take is finally getting over the hump and beating a top 10 program. And they had a chance against Penn State, but they lost by double digits, which was a bad loss for Memphis. So they need to take that next step. And also, Silverfield needs to take the next step in recruiting. I know Norvell wasn't the best recruiter, but you got to get better from 65 in the nation in recruiting if you're going to be a top 10 program.
It's not a bad number.
Well, if you're going to win a national championship, it has to be top 10.
Yeah, we probably do, but people are going to overlook Memphis because we're not in a good conference. And,
Well, maybe.
I'll ask you this. When was the last time Tennessee beat the top 25?
I think you're going to have to go back to 2 years ago when we beat number 11 Kentucky.
Yes. Now, Memphis beat a top 25 team just last year, SMU. And we had college game day came too.
But
It was a big game, and we won.
But my question for you is, what top 25 team did SMU beat?
They were in the top 25.
Yes, but what top tier program did they beat?
Well, look, they're obviously good enough to be on College Game Day.
But the question is, did they finish in the top 25 at the end of the year? No.
Memphis did, yes.
No, I'm talking about SMU. No. So that's not. It's a pretty good win. It's a big game for Memphis, but not for many of the other programs.
Kentucky finished in the top 25 when they lost to Tennessee in 2018.
Well,
I
Tennessee.
don't think they did. I don't think they did. So,
Well, Tennessee is in the Power 5 and Memphis is in a lower level conference, and I think before Memphis takes the net, they need to get in a better conference, which I don't think they will because they're not a good enough team. I mean, they're good enough. They're good for their little league conference, the AAC, but I mean, and just they can't keep having head coaches leave every 3 years. First it was Fuente to Virginia Tech, Mike Norvell to Florida State, and now, I mean, if Silverfield does okay, he might leave too. But I don't think Silverfield was the way to go. He's an offensive line coach, and I think that was a bad hire. I think they should have gone for someone else with more experience. So I think Memphis took the wrong choice right there. What do you think about Memphis hiring Ryan Silverfield? Miss Apierny, what do you think about the hire, Miss Apierny?
I like him. I mean, the team and the players like him, and I think he's a good pick.
What previous head coaching experience does he have? I think it'll be.
Everyone starts somewhere. You don't just start as the best college football coach. You gotta look at, take Butch Jones for example.
He was the head coach at Cincinnati.
Well, I can't say anything, but I think Ryan Silverfield is good. I think this is where he's gonna really get his start.
Well, Miss Apierny, Tennessee obviously wins that conversation in football, so let's switch over to the basketball side. Why do you think Memphis is better than Tennessee in basketball?
Why do I think Memphis is better than Tennessee in basketball? Well, let's start. Memphis owns state basketball, okay, in general. But I'm going to start off. We beat Tennessee last year, 51-47, in Thompson-Boling Arena, which is in Knoxville for you watchers that don't know where that is. So, I mean, that is why I'm kind of leaning to think Memphis is better than Tennessee.
Well, I'd have to disagree with you. I mean, if you're looking at the whole thing of all the games they played against each other, Tennessee dominates 15-12. And 2 years ago, Tennessee went to small little Memphis, the FedEx Forum, and whooped them 15-plus points. What do you have to say about that?
I said that was 2 years ago. Then Memphis came back and whooped them right back.
But Memphis had 3 5-stars, and they weren't even going to be a bubble team. They were not going to be in the NCAA tournament with 3 5-stars. And you know what that says to me? That says Penny Hardaway is not a good coach and he's not a good developer. He might be a good recruiter, but he can't get his team to the NCAA tournament.
Well, he's good enough to beat Tennessee.
Wait,
so
I have another question for you, Miss Apierny. How many NCAA appearances does Penny have?
You tell me.
He has 0. He might have been a good NBA player, but he's not the best coach. But again, Tennessee, they own Memphis in this category too. So, I mean, Tennessee owns the state. I think Memphis is maybe. Is maybe better than Vanderbilt, but Tennessee.
No, let me ask you this, Daniel. Mr. Daniel. Okay, Memphis players also go on, and I think they do better than Tennessee players.
Where, in the NBA or NFL?
In the NBA.
Well, Tennessee has a lot more players that were better. Bernard King, one of the top 50 players all time in the NBA. Tobias Harris, Allen Houston, many other really good players. Jordan McRae, Scotty Hobson, Jarnell Stokes, who played for the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's I could. There's a lot more players that played in the. There's a lot more players that played in Tennessee in the and then Memphis. But if you want to talk about the NFL, who put more players? I have one word for you: Peyton Manning. What's one NFL player that Memphis put in to the NFL?
Well, I'm going to be honest, you just switched up on me because I was talking about NBA. But, yeah, Peyton Manning's good and all, but that was, like 20 years ago. And it's, 20-plus years. I think it's
Well,
time to move
so
on.
what about Derek Barnett, a top 15 pick 3 years ago? In this past year,
Okay,
Jawan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, Shy Tuttle.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Basketball. We're talking about basketball.
Well-
We're talking about basketball.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about that, Tennessee, it's 15-12. End of discussion right there for you, Mr. Pearney. But I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
No, I don't think you need to switch the subject, but thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.